I'm Rudi Seitz. I took a book out of the library. I didn't read the book. They sent me a warning. The book wasn't overdue yet, but it was about to be soon. I thought, I'm going to read this book, and I appreciate their thoughtfulness in sending me this timely reminder about the approaching deadline before I cross it and begin racking up the charges. I proceeded to not read the book. They sent me an overdue notice. I thought, I'm a bad person, but I'm going to make up for it by reading the book. I didn't read the book. They sent me a second overdue notice. I thought, I'm a really bad person. I'm losing confidence that I'm actually going to read this book. But let's just say I'm gonna. I didn't. They sent me a third overdue notice. I thought, I'm a really, really bad person, and I must owe a lot of money right now. But there's a bright side. I realized that the maximum amount of money I could possibly owe on this overdue book was minuscule in relation to the size of the guilt I had been accumulating over the past several weeks. If I have the opportunity to pay a tiny amount of money to absolve myself of a massive amount of guilt, that's a brilliant transaction. I get to go from being a bad person to being a good person for under $20. Incredible. I woke up this morning and said, today's my day to conduct this transaction. Today's my day to go to the library, return my overdue book, and pay the fine. I showed up at the library. The librarian greeted me with a smile. I said, I'm here to return this book. I know it's overdue. Can you tell me how much I owe by now? She said, we're fine-free. I said, fine-free? What does that even mean? She said, we stopped charging fines for overdue books last year. The only way you'd have to pay a fine now is if you lost the book or you damaged it. So I tore a page out of the book and I said, can you tell me what I owe now? No, I didn't tear a page out of the book. I thought about tearing a page out of the book because I was so desperate to have to owe something. This thought of damaging public property caused me so much additional guilt that I wondered if there was some kind of fine I could pay for having had that thought, but this entire mental scenario was too complex for me to explain to the librarian, so I bottled it up inside. I gave her back my overdue book, and I asked her about a different book, another book I had heard of. Now, I wasn't going to read this other book, but I wanted to take it home with me. She said, we can't give you that book because someone else has it checked out. They've had it for a really long time. It's 3 weeks overdue. I thought, that lowlife, that good-for-nothing library card-carrying resident with no respect for due dates or deadlines, I hope that person suffers for hogging my book. I hope they have to pay a lot of money for what they're doing right now. I wasn't yet acclimated to this new fine-free reality. Then I thought, wouldn't it be even better if that person accumulated a huge amount of guilt with the expectation that they could show up at the library and absolve themselves by paying a fine, only to discover that that was impossible because fines had been waived, thereby placing them in a state of purgatory in which they would have to confront the searing memory of their irresponsible behavior with no way of paying it off ever. Wouldn't that be even better? I realized that with this fine-free policy, that punishment was the exact punishment that awaited this individual. And that's how I concluded that we live in the best of all possible worlds. I'm Rudi Seitz.